Hi, people, and welcome to yet another episode of the Conquerors show. We've had an amazing time. I hope you enjoyed yourself when you watched the last interview that we had. Today we have an amazing soul, and she is Terry T, and she is a gospel artist, but she has a story. So we want to listen to her story, and I'm sure that she will encourage you. So karibu sana. Terry T.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Asante
Welcome to
sana.
the Conquerors show.
Asante sana.
Here it's all about the glory of God,
Amen.
that God may be glorified at the end of the day. So tell us about yourself, because I know you have a story.
Like you said,
Yeah.
Terry T, born again Christian. That's my stage name. Otherwise, my name is Terry Mwendwa Thiongo.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
but on YouTube now my official name is with an Y. The stage name on YouTube is I, Terry with an I.
Okay.
Yeah, besides that, I'm a mother of two. I like how you said conquerors, because I've had a journey. I believe I'm a conqueror for sure.
Yes,
With Christ,
you
we
are.
conquerors.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I'm also a business lady. Maybe at some point I will tell you, maybe
Yeah.
on or off camera, what I do.
Yeah.
Yes, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good introduction.
Wow. That's really good introduction. So tell us the reason why, okay, you're a conqueror.
Yes.
I mean, we are all conquerors.
True, true.
But there's a story, there's what you've been through, there's, the challenges that you've gone through, whether as a believer or, as an unbeliever, or what happened, any encounter with God, we just want to know about you, Terry T.
Okay.
Yeah, even how you started singing,
Yeah.
what
Amazing.
happened. Yeah.
So actually, I usually say my whole story is a testimony.
Yeah.
I had a very difficult upbringing from a single mother. It was about 11 years now this year since she rested. But above all that, my whole story, like I schooled through sponsorship, all that from primary. And God is so gracious, because all the way to college, yes, was supported to get there. So it wasn't easy. So those are stages of life where I was able to conquer.
Yeah.
But God is gracious, because
Amen.
I overcame, and He was there at every step. I usually say at every step He brought like angazi, a ladder to climb from this to the next.
Yeah.
Yes. Then immediately after college, I moved to work in Nakuru. Not really immediately, maybe the second or third year of being outside college.
Yeah.
Yeah, I moved to Nakuru, where I was working for NGO, and I found, like they say, there's a plan, we don't know.
Yeah.
But now in Nakuru is where I met my current husband.
Ah.
Yes. But before that, it's important to mention, I was taking care of my ailing mother. It had been a while, like 2 years. She was in and out of hospital. Then, like I mentioned, she was a single mother, so she had me as a firstborn, then my younger brother. And in her state of health, she wasn't able to take care of us, of herself.
Yeah.
So I moved her into my house. And that season is when still I was dating. So I kept feeling, because you don't know what will happen if should I get married.
Yeah.
And now maybe, sometimes you're
What will
never
happen?
sure
Yeah,
what
yeah,
people say. And
Yeah.
also my mom herself used to be that lady who says, I wouldn't want to go camp into my kids' houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I felt, let me take longer to get married. I first see her through her illnesses, but it was God's will that she rested. So besides now postponing my marriage, like maybe 2-3 years, I got married, and now the journey started of starting a family, and that's where maybe the main story is, because we stayed for almost 5 years. It's like 4 years, 9 months before we got let's just call it 5 years. 5 years before we were blessed with a baby.
Yeah.
And at that time, my husband was working in Tanzania. Tanzania. So, and I was staying in Nakuru, Gilgil to be specific. So the very first months, maybe around 6 months. Now you see, having waited for my mom to heal, which did not happen, or rather now delayed marriage to take care of her, it happened that I was advanced in age. Yeah, meaning I really wanted to have kids immediately. because because I was married at 30 and you're wondering, oh, by the time maybe you're 40, the kid is 10 years, so can the kid come like yesterday? Yes, so at 6 months, I hadn't conceived. Of course, now you are new into this. It's funny. I hadn't had an encounter or heard of anyone who does it. I think some things you get to learn until you're in that space. So I thought for me it's obvious because I used to see people get married, get kids, or maybe I wasn't as exposed. I don't know. So the first 6 months now I started Googling. What we said, Dr. Google, and that's when I got now the options of seeing a gynecologist and all that. So I started now my journey, and I would be taken through various tests, and all the tests I was getting. In fact, I initially started hospitals in Nakuru, and the results were all is it positive or negative? Like there is nothing wrong. They would call it unexplained. So they would do some. They will do initially. They started with some very painful, others very uncomfortable. So then there is one. I remember one particular one that they wanted to check if I am ovulating. And they would take you 3, like come today, skip tomorrow, come the next day, because that period, either before or after, because it's usually like a guesswork. They don't know in my cycle because it was not regular when I could be ovulating. So they call it over tracking. They were checking if I have an egg produced, you know. Yes, so that one, you have to, now you know the situation, what you call the issue already, you're not able to speak to your employer. So it's something I don't even I can't remember. It's many years back how I got to go. You travel from Gilgil to Nakuru to the gynecologist. Today you skip, tomorrow the next day. Yes, because how do you explain out to being out of work? I don't remember how I did it that time. Then what next? After Nakuru, this tendency, now it started, the desperation set in. Because at some point, I thought maybe I was seeing a gynecologist who is a man, had been told he's a good gynecologist and all that. Of course, I had my bad experiences because even later at some point, he told me, I think I can help your husband. You know, things you don't expect. And I came to learn, I came to learn. He used to tell ladies that, and people in desperation, some fall for, you know, So now, as I was saying, when I was in that space, now I started getting to many people. In fact, being childless is something you didn't wish your worst enemy. That's what I say, because I met a lady who was 3 years into marriage. That time I was in the first year. She was a friend. She didn't have a kid, but I didn't know because she was like hiding. I don't know if it's the right English, behind. We are still on honeymoon, but until a time that maybe I'm open, I speak my issues comfortably now. When I mentioned, I told her, oh, I'm seeing this doctor. Then she told me she also had been seeing him. She has the issues, and that's when I told her about what the doctor said. She told me she's been told the same. So it's so unfortunate. So unfortunate. So anyway, besides that, now I got to a point where I said, now let me see a lady gynecologist. And every doctor will want to do their own investigations. So you start the HSG, can't remember in full, but it is the one for checking the tubes are open. Everything that's related to reproduction health, you'd go through those tests. And now I got to a point where now I actually moved, before I moved to Nairobi, I thought of I don't know if we call them the big four, but you're thinking, oh, let me go to the known hospitals in Nairobi. So I started now my journey. I would come to Nairobi and to the likes of Aga Khan. So the same, each doctor will check. They check the hormones, the thyroid, all that, and the results were the same. I would be told unexplained.
Nothing wrong with you.
Unexplained infertility. So desperation set in. Then I remember sometime in 2012, those were 2 years down the line, watching the TV, and there was this, I won't say herbalist, but you know, herbal people assume it's the, what are they called? The plant, the leaves, and when they are boiled. Yes, but now they were actually tabs, but they're herbal tabs. So when I saw him on TV and people had testimonies, I went visiting their offices. Like I'm telling you now, when you're desperate, you can do anything. But amazingly, it worked. It worked. After a few months, I conceived. And we were over the moon. Yes, I remember. then one day I remember I was seated in the salon. Then I felt uncomfortable and we visited the washroom. And I had to visit a gynecologist immediately because I was like, oh, something is not happening right. So he gave me some injections and put me on bed rest for around 4 days. And it didn't go well. I miscarried. So this was now 3 years and we were over the moon and everything excited. But you can, there's nothing you can do. But at that point, you lose hope. You start, you know, you're bitter with God. So I lost hope or interest in living. That's the point where now I started getting some hope somehow that now I have conceived, at least there is some hope.
But at least,
Yes, I've realized there's some hope that I can conceive and hold my child. But at the same time, you're frustrated that it didn't go well to the end. And this is the time now I contemplate and taking my life, because every month you are reminded that every month you are hopeful. Although sometimes for my husband working, he used to come almost every weekend, but sometimes the cycle, you know, the cycle was not but so I remember this particular evening, there's at that point I've been through so much of even stigmatization. So you alienate yourself. In church,
people ask you, what's going on.
You can't go for a baby shower, you can go for a wedding, you can go for a burial. I remember a friend of mine got so upset, almost to date. You can always feel the coldness in the friendship. We were friends all day, but she felt I did go for her mom's burial, so she thought there was no reason for me not to go, but it was a place when I was protecting my heart, because people will ask you,
they don't understand what's going on.
Copy to mtu, such questions. Others would be, even my husband received his beat, because some would be like, kama umeshindwa. So where were we at? This is now the point. I was going to that of you've alienated yourself, and had very few friends. So I was now, despite my nature of now sharing and all that, so I had a very small group of friends who were working with me in prayer. And there is this lady I had told that morning, I don't think I want to live again. So now they're contemplating suicide. I was like, hey, now I don't know for what reasons. You know, I also have irregular cycle. So sometimes the cycle will delay and then you get hopeful. Actually, I haven't mentioned the many tests I would, because now if the cycle is getting to maybe day 40, I go by a kid, then I'm frustrated. It's, you know,
so you
keep hoping, testing, hoping. So at that moment when you get a negative, you feel crushed. So this day, I don't know, for some reason, was this cycle. And then when you're expecting, when you are expectant, that is expecting to be expectant, you tend to find the symptoms agreeing with you. So you find yourself with those saliva, you know, there's nothing but your mind,
it's in your mind.
The power of the mind. So only to confirm with a kit, that pregnancy testing kit, that there is nothing, and I would go feel so crushed. So there's this day I called the lady. I told her, hey, I don't think I want to live again. And remember, my husband was working in Tanzania, so I don't know what I was planning. I keep saying the only thing, and known I would not be there, and I was thinking of all the medicine, because now besides the, what do you call them, the regular doctors and the herbal. So I had so many, because we were given such a big, because it's guesswork. They don't know, is it the tubes, is it the ovulation, is it the hormones?
So they are trying whichever will work.
Yes, and you have so many. Then desperation has set in. Then I started now getting into the network of people, first who are childless, others who have been childless and succeeded. So you all hear, like, this friend has been childless for 3 years. She visited this gynecologist, and she was blessed with a child, for example, maybe twins. And I would run there. Desperation, the things desperation can make you do. So if you are on this medication and you've gone there, this one now takes you to another road. Some of course will be the same. So I had so many, and I thought maybe I'll take all these drugs, and so before even that, now the depression, I remember I moved from Nakuru to Nairobi in 2011, and I had a very good job. I got promoted.
Yeah.
I got like staff hired. I was performing very well, but now this depression thing is affecting my work.
Wow.
And you're not able to share with anybody. I would get into the office, instead of starting work, I open the Bible. I start because now we know the hope is in God. Besides this other time you are bitter, you'll go all over and come back to God. Everywhere and come back to God. So I remember one day I was called and I was given a letter of what do you call it? In short, I was fired. So now we are piling, and these at some point I used to comfort myself and say, I would rather lose my job than have a child, because you're imagining. Then I would also remind myself, no, God is supposed to bless us. I would see maybe a friend, she has a job, she's doing well, she has kids, then God. But you know, sometimes how you think all the option you put in your head. I would rather be hungry, I mean poor, but be called a mother. It can be that desperate. So I lost my job at a point where I was supposed to go for now. This is one of the other things. A friend of mine was childless for 5 years. I got to know at this point. We schooled with her in college. But I got to know at this point of now this situation. So someone just said, oh, so-and-so used to be childless for 5 years, but now she has a child. And we were not in touch for the longest time.
Yeah.
But I traced her contact. I didn't know how she'd receive me, but she embraced me very well. She started okay with me, the journey. So she told me of the tests now to check the tubes, which is not besides the physical one, which you just put them, the I don't know what they call it, the fluid, the blood, then it goes through, then they know if your tubes are good. She told me her doctor did operated on her. Then they were able to find the tubes had things growing in the tube, so that's what was blocking the fertilization and all that. So she went through an operation to clean that and rectify and all that. And like I mentioned now, I went for that.
Oh my goodness. So you also did an operation?
Yes, it's called, it's not, it's called, sorry, we remember, I'll tell you, what do you call it? Yeah, then that now was the same month, it was scheduled the same month I lost my job.
Oh my God.
So yes, so you can imagine you're in theater, but not to get a baby, but for such, you get out, you're healing a wound. I'm not healed from the job loss for being sacked from my job. So it was a difficult moment. The worst part of that is that the results from this were not clear, because I keep remembering the doctor wrote, like, you know, you have a left and a right, then he wrote left, right. Instead of writing left as this issue, he wrote left, left. So you don't know now is the problem again. Then we decided once I was healed, went with my husband to be able to get the results from him. And of course, if he didn't write on that day of the operation, he couldn't remember even this time. So it made no benefit. You have that word to heal from. It's called laparoscopy. I just remembered. Yes. Then I stayed home. And I remember the many other things. I stopped now going to hospital, to the mainstream doctors. What are they called? I'm forgetting. So I started now self-treating. I would call it self-treating, because now the other herbalist, I was going to see him. I continued taking the drugs because he told me, now you see, you took for, I don't know if it was 3 months, and you see you got there like almost immediately. So I had lots of hope that if I take now, it became over a year now. I gave up on that. Then I got to a point now I didn't want to see any doctor, to go to any herbalist. I got to the internet. There's much story about the Chinese, the Japanese, how they use these herbals. And I'll go to Healthy, you know, the Healthy shop. I would Google and see this, the Japanese or the Chinese use it for this, to heal this, maybe to treat these hormones, to balance, to So I started using that for a while, and they were quite expensive. And then I also came across a friend who was selling some herbals also from these companies, like the likes of GNLD, I can't remember. So she would combine again, because it's guesswork, combine even a bill of 12,000, 8,000, back in 2012.
So you kept taking medication
guesswork.
over and over.
Guesswork. Then I didn't succeed again. I stopped taking those again. Then I remember towards the end of 2013, my pastor, I went to see my pastor. First of all, in church, I had gotten the stigma thing, had gotten to a point where nobody knew me. I went to a new church, nobody knew me. So I would get into church and get out. But at least I would get to, I went to see the pastor and he was praying over me and his wife. Yeah, so one day we went to see them, and then he declared, like he prophesied over my life. That was the end of 2013. So he told me 2014 you will laugh. And now the following year, as January came, I was feeling that laughter inside me. Initially I would see an expectant woman and take her corner because you are feeling so and he said that the year started in January, and I was feeling there was something, you know, the men of God can speak to them. They're the true ones. They are there, and God is still using them, because even as he prophesied, even you'll have a boy, you'll have a girl, all that. Right now I have those. So where was I going with this? 2014, I had stopped doing everything until when the pastor prayed over me, and in 2014 January we discussed with my husband to start seeing. Actually, we had gone to the doctor who does the test tube babies. Then he had given us his bill and all that, and my husband felt merciful on me. He pitied me because of the process involved, that you have to be bedridden and all that and all that. Then he said, let's keep waiting, let's keep trying and hoping. But at this point we felt, let's go back to him. We hear what the options are after maybe 3 years of having been with him. Then he told me, let's hear what the options are right now and start the tests afresh. Remember, now we have stopped going completely. He had been tested a while back and it was good. So when I went, the doctor advised that we start with the male test, my husband's test, because he said the female one is quite painful, the one for the tubes. So his was good. Then I was sent for mine. So when I went for mine, I remember he was doing his part-time classes Saturday morning. So he told me, you go for the test. By the time you have them and you're going to the doctor for the appointment for him to explain, expound everything, I'll be with you. Then I didn't find a queue, so it happened so fast. I got my results. They were the worst I've ever seen. All along we've been told negative. I mean positive, that nothing is wrong. And now here I'm receiving very negative, because they would test the tubes, say the tubes are okay. Now these results were saying both tubes are blocked. Now that is like the end, musho kabisa. And I think because already God had spoken over my life, I just felt I couldn't take these results. Inside me, I even confessed. I went to the doctor, I was given the options. I saw the options with both tubes blocked. There is almost nothing we can do. There is only 25%. There's the IVF, it's 25% assured, because he told me people even do it over and over without success. And the other is unblocking the tubes, which is the same, 25%, given they are very tiny, and they're both of them. So I left the office. Now, I didn't get the opportunity to go with my husband because maybe it's God, because maybe you'd have crashed at the results, because everything at the test place happened so fast. The doctor's office, there was no queue. So I called him and we met up. He had told me, now that you're done, let's meet somewhere for coffee. So when we met, I gave him the results. And for the first time now, I noted he was so crushed. Because all this time he had tried to be strong. So I went with this hope. When as I gave the news to him, I was telling him this assurance. That I was telling him, this is the devil's report. I mean, the doctors, the devil's report. Yes. I was extremely hopeful. Yes, and that was in March. That was the beginning. I think the first week, 6, 7 there of March, and now I've gotten the worst results. We're thinking, what do we do? And it's interesting. on this other friend of mine, how she conceived, because she took some herbs, which I also did at some point. Yeah, there's a lady who had a child. You know, now, like I said, I used to follow successful stories. There's a lady who had a child, she miscarried, then she struggled to conceive again. So she took me to a shosho who boils those herbs. You be given a kibuyu for 3 liters, something you can, very bit, you can barely swallow, you struggle with it. That's why I'm saying, childlessness, you cannot wish your worst enemy. So this other lady happened to go to a guy. Now she was still living in Gilgil, and she took those, like, you take 5 liters, and she succeeded. So it got to a point now I want to go to, because I can't remember the friend about this other lady. So I told her I could also try that. Now that was after this bad results, because we continue. There was lots of hope. I was feeling so hopeful that year, so I would have gone, continued now back with the medication, whatever kind, but still hopeful. So I was to go, and then I remember we went to some to some farm, and there's a distance we used to walk. So I get out of the car, I'm trying to walk, I'm feeling lots of pain. We go to sleep, I sleep this position, I'm feeling lots of pain. I sleep in that position. Then this particular weekend, when I was supposed to go with this lady, to this lady's doctor, herbal doctor, to get the medicine, a friend of mine was launching some book or something, and another one friend wanted to pay for me to attend. I told her, no, me, I can't attend. I'm going to Gilgil to get meds, blah, 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 blah. You know my story. Then she told me, no, I've already paid. Unfortunately, maybe you try postpone your event. Then I attended. Why I'm saying this is because now when I couldn't walk, I couldn't sleep, when I came back to Nairobi after maybe 3 days, I went for the same thing, the kit thing. Now at this point is when I had the tests that had said both tubes are blocked. So my menses are delayed. When I go online, I'm finding that could be the cause. The test, or maybe when you've had a HSG test, they can be delayed. But when I came back, I think now I just decided the usual. Let me go buy. And it was now the very first that was positive from the house. But I wasn't sure. So I went to hospital. I was tested, and it was a positive test. Now my husband wasn't excited. I remember the other one, he was so excited, the one after 3 years. Now this is after 2 more years because of the other one that failed. But now I was very, like, 100% sure. I was having much peace that this would go well, and we got our son.
Wow. Amen.
Yeah. God is faithful. I had a very smooth pregnancy.
Wow.
And then, although now on the day of birth, actually the due date that the doctor gave us, that's when I got the labor pains and all that in the midnight. But when we went to hospital, my labor now started subsiding, disappearing. So I was in the ward. Now, having had done the other laparoscopy surgery that you're going to get and you're not going to have a baby, I had confessed and prayed to God honestly that this one would be a normal, that I would get a normal birth and not do more surgery. So as my labor, I was so naive. I don't know what my faith was in another level. You see, sometimes we say faith is foolishness. So I was excited that my labor is going away. Because that pain is not nice anyway. But the doctor in the night left some, I don't know, monitoring the heart in the machine. They need to print after some seconds. So the doctor now who came in the morning looked at the charts. First of all, the nurses, when we arrived, they would take the heartbeat of the baby. It was below what is expected, and they panicked. In fact, initially I was wondering, but I was so bold. Even as I left the house, I opened the Bible to read. It does not matter the context, but whatever I read was none of you shall die. So when the nurses are testing, the first one came, tested, panicked, went, called the second. Me, I'm so relaxed. And yes, kumbe they are not finding the heartbeat of the baby. When the doctor came, it was low. So during these nights, as the labor is disappearing, the baby had entangled the cord and pulled inside the womb. So when the morning doctor came, she harassed everybody. I was showering. I'm at peace. There's no labor pain. I'm waiting for my, I don't know how, my normal birth. So she hurriedly said the plans should be made to go to theater. I was objecting because I was imagining now another surgery, the healing process.
Yeah.
So I actually started refusing to sign those because, but my husband was, they convinced me. He signed. Then I went. When I went in, I was actually crying because I remember, because I was like, hey, Jesus, you have failed me. That's what I was thinking. Because I wanted a normal, but now I'm going to be operated on again. That other experience wasn't nice. So I thank God, because actually when the doctor opened my womb, he shouted. She shouted because she said, the people who help in theater, everyone, they come, we need to save this baby. And I could feel, because it was half the one you do. So the baby scored very well. He's a very normal baby, but I was told if he had stayed like 10 more minutes, either you would have some brain damage because of the oxygen. And he's a healthy baby. We thank God right now. He turned 6 in December.
Amen.
But now the beauty of the story is I had seen my cousins as well get married. Maybe a good example, January, 9 months down the road,
they have a baby. Yes. So seeing people around you getting children and you're not getting children. Wow.
So for my son, I told God, when like I'm ready to have a second, but let it be a honeymoon baby. Like I feel this month I want a baby, and that's what happened for my daughter. Now God performed a miracle for me again. I remember the month I thought I asked God, I need now a second one because already that 4 years. Ni wale kama tunasemanga,
they grow up together.
Yes,
like twins or something.
Yes, God did it for me. Now the girl will turn 5 in May.
Amen.
Yes,
wow.
He's a faithful God. And of course the walk was not easy. But I keep using that verse that God took me through that to strengthen my faith and to confirm His word. That the verse I love most in the Bible is that with God there is nothing impossible. There is nothing impossible.
All things
with
are possible.
God. Yes.
Wow.
So I'm now mother of 2.
Amen.
Not anything I take for granted. Every day I pray to God to continue giving me wisdom, to give me long life, to give my kids long life.
Wow. Amen. What a story. We thank God, for you, that you're able now to, celebrate your 2 babies.
Sure.
It's a journey, and I know there are so many people out there, in the same situation. You can hold on. You can hold on to God. I know it's not easy. It's a journey. It's a day at a time. But God is faithful. There's nothing He cannot do. All things are possible with God. And so if you're there and you're trusting God for a child, God is able to give you a child. The doctor's report is not the final report. God has the final say. So thank you so much, Charity, for sharing your story. We are blessed to have you.
Thank you.
And we can give God all the glory,
Amen.
at the end of the day, for His blessing. So talk to us, write to us, tell us your story. And, if you want, prayer, you can write to us on Wema TV online, every, all of Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Gadoni Mutugi, write to us and let us pray with you. Let us walk the journey with you, and God will bless you. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time, God bless you.
Wema TV, the voice of hope.